I'm Sara Gutierrez, and I'm 20 years old.
What is your Latina identity? Like your ethnicity?
I would say I'm Mexican American.
What? Do you feel connected to your Latinidad? Do you feel like Latina enough?
I feel like that's kind of a tough question. I think that growing up in LA, it was really easy to like be connected to feeling Latina because there's like, and especially like being Mexican in LA, I think that there's a huge like Mexican American community and Mexican community in LA to be able to find yourself in. And I think that my family like almost never let me forget that I was Latina and that I was Mexican. It was very much something that was always like very prevalent in my life, and like they made sure I knew Spanish and like all of these things that like made me feel very secure in my Latina identity.
What was your favorite?
I think I really loved the like Barbie Rapunzel movie, like a lot of the Barbie movies in general, but I think the Barbie Rapunzel movie specifically was one of my favorites. And then anything Nick Jr., like the Upside Down show. If you know, you know.
Why were those your favorites?
I don't know. I think the Barbie one, I was just such a kid that loved like auditory things, and like the Barbie one, like just like the music and like the sounds of like the castle and like all the stuff like in the Barbie princess movies, I think like really captivated me when I was little. And Nick Jr. and Upside Down show, I think I like things that were like silly, and those were like very silly shows.
Did you ever feel seen in that media, like represented or related to it in any way?
I wouldn't say that I necessarily ever did. I think that it was easier to find yourself in like cartoons, because like I think that like at least when I was watching cartoons, at least it like started to be more diverse a little bit, like with like things like Dora and like things like that. I think that like that really drew me to, because I also really did like Dora, but I think things like that drew me to my culture. And then like things like Barbie and like other Nick shows, I think like definitely didn't make me feel as like representative.
That was my next question. Did you notice any of these feelings when you were a kid, or did you see them as you got older?
I guess like literally what I just said. I don't think I necessarily really thought about the things when I was little. I definitely thought that like the characters in the shows were very pretty. I remember thinking that, especially about like Barbie. But I don't know if in the moment, I don't know if I ever thought less of myself, but like it definitely probably shaped how I thought about myself in the future, I guess.
Do you think any of this has had a lasting impact on you, like your self-worth or sense of belonging?
I don't think I can say it has. I think that like at least not a super big impact. I think that it took me a bit to like get over some of the like stereotypes of like what is considered like a beautiful girl. And like a lot of the time in like media, it is like a like white blonde girl, like the popular girls like the blonde girl, and like stuff like that. I think that definitely took me a long time to like overcome that hurdle through like middle school and then in the beginning of high school. And I think that maybe it probably did impact me a good amount, but I think that now I've been able to like grow out of that and like stop seeing those like different stereotypes as like the standard.
What do you wish your younger self could have seen in her media?
I think that I had a lot of strong women in my life, like around me, so I think that I never considered any of those things like something I needed represented in media. But I think that seeing people that looked like me, in the sense that like maybe more Latinas like in cartoons or in like kids shows would have been more helpful, because I think like I said, it started to become more diverse, like with shows like Dora. I think I definitely felt represented through my culture and like speaking Spanish in that way. But I think that if there was more, my younger self would have appreciated that.
And then last question, if you could change one piece of media from your childhood to give to your younger self so she could see it, what would it be and why?
I feel like it keeps coming back to Barbie, but like I feel like in the sense, like a lot of those movies, especially in the early 2000s, and I was watching like older versions of those movies too, like the main characters were not like they weren't even brunette, like, so I think that like seeing girls with like essentially just like diversity in the characters, even in Barbie, even though Barbie was like blonde girl with blue eyes, like I think having diversity in like even just like their hair color or like their skin tones would have been really nice to see, because I know now like when you watch like cartoons of Barbie, they're like very diverse, so I think that having that earlier would have been nice.